It's great to have you here again on another live session. How are you doing? How was your week? I hope your week went well. I hope you had a very productive and profitable week. Welcome back to the show. If this is your first time, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. It's great to have you here every Friday like this between the hours of 5 and 6 p.m. West African time. I always go live like this in the high performance community where we just charge and encourage ourselves, talk about the tools, tips, skills, and strategies to help you and I be those high performers that God has created us to be. And it's another Friday evening, and we are here. You know how we do it, right? Every time I come on live like this, on High Performance Live, we always do our high performance review for the week, which is three things: what we are grateful for, the lesson that we are learning this week, and what we are looking forward to in the upcoming week. So I'll start. What I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for another opportunity to be here with you in another live session. The lesson that I'm learning this week is how to master your domain. How do you master your domain? And that's what I'm going to be talking about in a couple of minutes. It's going to be very insightful. So you want to make sure that you hang around for that. Get out your pen, your notepad to take notes. It's going to be a very insightful section. And what I'm looking forward to is the 7-figure pitch webinar that is coming up sometime later towards the end of this month. That is coming up, and I'm so excited about that. Where I'm going to be showing you the tools, strategies, and the skills that you need to attract premium clients in your workplace or in your marketplace. So you're an entrepreneur or you're an executive, you want to know how to land those premium clients, then this is for you. And that's what the 7-figure pitches webinar, is going to be all about. So excited about that. In the upcoming days, I'll be sharing out updates about it. If you're on my newsletter, I'm sure you've started seeing little tips here and there about that webinar. So make sure that you stay connected. Don't miss any updates. Don't miss any newsletter, because I'm going to be sharing all the details about that event so that you can be part of it. As soon as the link is ready for you to register and be part of it, you don't worry, you will definitely be the first to know so that you can be part of it. So for me, that's my own high performance review for the week, what I'm grateful for, the lesson that I'm learning, and what I'm looking forward to in the upcoming week. What's yours? What are you grateful for this week? What is that lesson that you are learning this week? And what are you looking forward to in the upcoming week? Type it right there in the comments. I really want to hear from you. So that's it, very, very quickly. I promise this will be very straight, short, and sharp. How do you master your domain? How do you master your domain? And let me start like this. Have you seen this book? Have you read this book? I can't make this up by Kevin Hart. Have you read this book? I just thought to share it with you. If you haven't read this book by Kevin Hart, you definitely need to read it. Life Lessons from Kevin Hart himself. Such a very, very beautiful book. I got this as a gift from my dear mentor, Steve Harris, and I will always be grateful to him for giving me a copy of this book. If you are looking for inspiration, I assure you that this book will definitely, definitely inspire you. It will change your life. It will change your mindset. It will just open your heart to a whole new level. You know Kevin Hart now. If you haven't read this book, you will just see another dimension of him that will bless you greatly. Just talking about his story and how he came into the success that he's enjoying today. And trust me, just like I said, it will inspire you. That's one thing that I always do on High Performance Live, right? I don't always just talk. I share with you the tools and the resources that have changed my life and that would definitely change your life. I can't really tell you how I came about this book. Just somehow I came about this book because I'd actually read the e-version of it before my mentor actually gave me this hard copy that I'm showing to you. And I'm always just so grateful. And I know that there are various great people like you out there who are looking for, materials to just inspire you, that will just help you take your game to a whole new level and just open up your mind to the vast possibilities that are available for you. And trust me, this book is one of such books, one of such materials that will definitely, I promise you, change your life. Now, why did I start by talking about Kevin Hart and to recommend his book to you? Because Kevin Hart is a perfect example of someone who is a master of his domain. You and I know what his domain is. His domain is comedy. He's a powerhouse. He's a powerhouse in that domain. He's a master in that domain called comedy. Now, the reason why I have to talk about Kevin Hart and I recommend his book to you, and the reason why we're having this conversation this evening is really not about Kevin Hart, it's about you, it's about me. And the reason why I'm here is to encourage you and just to remind you that if Kevin Hart can become a master of his domain, you too can become a master of your domain. God, the reason why you are here on earth is that God created you to be a master of a particular domain. It doesn't bring God pleasure for you to be dominated by your circumstances, for you to be dominated by your environment. When he created you and put everything in you and in me for us to be masters of our domain, for us to dominate our environment. And that's why we're having this conversation this evening, that if it can happen for Kevin Hart and it can happen for you, it can happen for me, then what does it take to become a master of your domain? First of all, how do you even locate that domain that you belong? And then how do you now eventually become a master of that domain? That's why I believe that this conversation is very, very important, because just like I said, we don't need to pay lip service to these things. There is a way to make it happen. There is a process that needs to be followed. Nobody wishes and just stumbles and by luck becomes a master of their domain. Trust me, there is a process to follow. In this his book, he shares his process. He shares his story, all the things that he had to go through to eventually become a master of his domain. And so from his story, we can pick 5 very important lessons that can help us to become masters of our own domain. I don't know what your domain might be, but trust me, there is a domain that God has ordained for you to become a master in it. If and I know that you are a high performer, so I know that it's not if for you, is when you commit to that process. When you commit to that process, trust me, you will emerge as a master in your domain. Now, that process is what I'm going to be talking about very, very quickly. And it's a simple 5-step process, 5-step process that you and I need to go through to become masters of our domain. In that 5-step process, you will identify that domain. There is the very first step of the process where you identify that domain that you are supposed to be a master in, and then grow from one step to another until you eventually become a master of that domain. Because here's the thing, God created man and God said to man, he says, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue the earth, and have dominion. That word is not only to Kevin Hart or to people like Kevin Hart. That word that God said is to every single human being. To every single human being. The fact that you are listening to me right now is proof that you are here on this earth to be a master of a particular domain. As real as the day and as real as the night, it's not a guesswork. As real as the day, if you know that the day is real to you and you know that the night time is real to you, that's how real that God has ordained that you become a master of your own domain. And so that's what we're talking about. How do you become a master of your domain? How do you go through that process of being fruitful, of multiplying, of replenishing, of subduing, and eventually having dominion in this earth? That's what we're talking about. And so that's the simple 5-step process to becoming a master of your domain. And let me start by saying that the only way for you to become a master of your domain is when you are willing to be a servant of your domain. I'll say that again. The only way you become a master of your domain is when you are willing to be a committed servant and a committed student of that domain. That's the only way. Until you are a student and servant of that domain, you won't become a master. The person who wants to be first must be willing to be last. The person who wants to be the head and the leader must be willing to become a servant. So it's that thing where you must be a willing servant and student of that domain. You must be willing to serve through the process until you eventually become a master. It's just a law, it's just a rule of life. And it's those 5 laws of servanthood, those 5 laws that we need to obey to become masters of our domain that I will be sharing very, very quickly with you so that you become a master of your domain. The number one law, the very first law there is the law of the seed. Is the law of the seed. How do you become a master of your domain? How do you become a master of your domain? Like Kevin Hart is a master of his domain of comedy. It starts by obeying the first law of dominion or the first law of domain, and that is the law of the seed. Now, the law of the seed, this is where we actually discover that area, that domain that God has ordained us for us to be masters in. Now, your domain is simply that seed of greatness that God has put inside you. And that's the way God works. What he does is that he always puts the big inside the small. And that's why it's called the law of the seed. Just like how in every seed there is a forest, the mastery of the domain that God has ordained for you, he has put it in something tiny, in something seemingly small, and something seemingly insignificant that you carry inside you. And that's why we call it the law of the seed. It's not about necessarily the corn seed or mango seed, even though, yes, those are pictures of really these people that we're talking about. But what we're saying right here is that that seed is something that you carry inside you. That seemingly small and insignificant thing is what holds the key to that place, that area of mastery, that place of dominion that God has ordained for you. And so that is what it is. What is your area of domain? Your area of domain is your area of gifting. Your area of domain is the area of your talent, is the area where you have knowledge, is the area where you have wisdom, is the area where you have skills, where you have experience. What is your area of your domain? Your area of your domain is that seed that you carry inside you, that thing that you have right now that can benefit somebody else. Your seed is that idea that refuses to go away. Yes, thank you so much. Let's go finishing school for sharing that this the small is always inside the big. That's the way it works. So yes, you are called to be a master of your domain, but it starts by paying attention to those seemingly small and insignificant things in your life right now, because those are the things that hold the key to your mastery. And so what is your area of domain? It's that idea that refuses to go away. That thing that you have in your present right now that has the potential to create that desired future, that picture of the picture of the future that you have inside you. That's what your seed is, and that is the area of your domain. And that's why you need to pay attention to these things. You need to pay attention to these things. There is that thing called the acre of diamond principle, where you are looking for your diamond in far distant shores and far distant mountains, not knowing that your diamonds are right there in your backyard. The only problem is that we refuse to dig for them. We refuse to recognize them as diamonds because we're like, it's in my backyard. We're always admiring the grass that is greener across the fence, forgetting that the grass that is right there in our compound is our own responsibility to till. It's our own responsibility to recognize how valuable they are and to extract the value from them. And so that's it. That the very first step in the law of domain there says the law of the seed. And what it simply means is that as real as the day, as real as the night, as real as that chair that you are sitting on right now and probably watching me right now, you have seeds of greatness inside you. You have seeds of greatness inside you. Forget about the other person that you look at. You're always wishing, oh, I wish I was as talented as them. Oh, I wish I was as funny as them. Oh, I wish I was as gifted as them. Oh, I wish I was as talented as Kevin Hart. Yes, Kevin Hart is talented. Kevin Hart is gifted. But you are also talented. You are also gifted. You also have gifts, talents, knowledge, wisdom, experience that the world really needs. And that's what it's about. The second law of the law of domain there is the law of fruit. We said the first one is the law of seed. The second one is the law of the fruit. Now, it's great that you and I have seeds of greatness inside us. But the thing about it is that the world doesn't eat seed, the world eats fruit. Yes, SMA tribe, I have seeds of greatness, absolutely. And this is no pandering. This is no pandering. This is real as any seed that you see that exists in this world. You know the mango seed, you know the orange seed, as real as those seeds is a principle. If I heard someone say it somewhere and it blew my mind. It sounded like a very simple statement. I heard it in a conference. And what this person said is that if you can't understand natural things, how do you expect to understand spiritual things? That blew my mind. It sounds like a simple statement, but if you think about it, it's very, very deep. He said, if you can't understand natural things, how do you expect to understand spiritual things? What it simply means is that every single thing you see in the natural is a reflection of something bigger, of something greater. So what it simply means is that if the mango seed is real, if the maize seed is real, is absolutely real that you have seeds of greatness inside you. Don't let anything confuse you. Don't let anything dissuade you, no matter what you might have gone through in life, no matter what your environment looks like right now, no matter the situation or circumstances you are going through. It's as real that you have greatness inside you. And so that's what it's about. That you need to come to that fact where you totally and absolutely believe it. You are absolutely convinced of it. Because until you believe it and until you are convinced of it, you can't see it become a reality. Until you stop in that place and say, oh, if only I was born in the circumstances or I had access to the kind of opportunities that Kevin had, things would be different. Until you stop saying those things like that, oh, if only I was as intelligent as him, then I will also have his kind. Until you stop saying those things and recognize that you have your own greatness, irrespective of what is happening for him, then you can't see yours come to fruition. You can't see yours become a reality, and that's what it is. And so the second stage is the law of the fruit, and we simply says that the world doesn't eat seed, the world eats fruit. And so while it's great that we have seeds of greatness inside us, and God has given us these precious seeds of greatness, it is our responsibility to turn those seeds into fruit, because that's only what the world consumes. And so when we say the law of the fruit, what we're talking about is that get busy, get productive. We're saying be productive. That's just what we're simply saying. That law of the fruit, where, just like I said, everything is a reflection of a deeper meaning and a deeper principle. So I'm not saying that you should go and start selling mango fruits. So I know that's not what you're thinking. I just had to throw that in. So what we're saying is that be productive. That's what we're talking about. Be productive. The world eats fruits. Absolutely, Exgo. The world eats fruits, not seeds. So it's time for you to be productive. It's God's responsibility to put the seeds of greatness inside you, but He will not turn those seeds into fruits for you. It's your own responsibility. It's my responsibility to identify those seeds and to take those seeds and turn them into fruits, and take those seeds and produce something. That's what we're simply saying. That knowledge that you have, take it and produce something. That skill that you have, take it and produce something. That's just what we're saying. It's not complicated. That experience that you have, take it and produce something. Produce something tangible, turn it into a service, turn it into something that you can sell, that the world can buy, that the world really needs. That's just all we're talking about. Don't just be celebrating the fact, oh, I have seeds of greatness in me. You're just going to have seeds of greatness in me. What are you producing? And it's all about saying that you need to go and sit down at your desk. You need to go and sit down and face it and actually produce something. Put something out there, get to work. Yes, absolutely. Put something out there, produce something, put out a product, put out a service that the world really needs. And that leads us to step 3, the third law of the law of mastery of your domain, and which is the law of multiplication. So I've said the law of the seed, the law of the fruit. The law of the seed is identifying your domain, which is your gift, your talent, your knowledge, skill, wisdom, experience, that idea that will not leave you, that thing that you have that can benefit somebody else. So anything around you in your present that can create that future that you desire. And then we say, take it and produce something. One of the greatest seeds that we have is the seed of time. How are you taking that time and converting it into something and producing something out of it? That's what we're talking about, be productive. And then from there, it goes to the third law of the law of mastery, which says the law of multiplication, the law of multiply. Now, what does the law of multiply mean? It simply means that now that you have identified your seed, you have produced something out of that seed, don't stay there. Take what you have produced and replicate it in different formats. That's what it means by multiply. So I'll take a very good example. I know that Exigo Finishing School right now that is here on this live session with me, she is an etiquette coach. And if you need any etiquette service, you need to definitely contact Exigo Finishing School. She's your etiquette plug, absolutely. So if we take Exigo Finishing School for an example, what her domain is the domain of etiquette, right? The domain of helping people know how to behave properly in offices, how to behave properly in public, how to behave properly in social situations, how to behave properly, at dinner settings. That's her domain, right? So then she takes it a step and she takes that seed that she has identified, that her gift and that her talent that she has identified. And what does she do? She produces a product. It could be a book on 10 simple rules to follow to crush it at your next dinner outing. She puts the book out there and great, people are buying it, yes, because they want to know how to stand out at dinner settings. They want to know how to, be the talk of the table or be the talk of the town at the next party, at the next event. But what the law of multiply now says, that's fine. She has identified her seed. She has turned her seed into a fruit, into a product. Now, the law of multiply says, don't stay there. Take that product and multiply it into different formats. So yes, she has produced a book, but she doesn't need to stop there. What about seminars? What about in-person seminars? What about one-on-one coaching? What about webinars? What about, there are so many things that she can create out of it. A very good example is also Kevin Hart. Now, Kevin Hart has identified his domain as comedy, but guess what he does? He has his fruits in different formats. This guy is amazing. You're talking about, he does stand-up comedy, he does movies, he does TV series, he does web series, he does he does endorsement deals, he does, tell me again. This book is another this is another fruit, because trust me, he did put this out for free. People bought it and it actually even became a New York Times bestseller. And then you're not talking about somebody who sells out arenas. Isn't that powerful? Taking just that one seed, turning it into fruit and multiplying it into different formats. And so that's just what it is, that whatever thing that you are producing, don't stay in one area, please. Don't stay in one area. God has given you so much wisdom. He has made you much more dynamic than for you to just stay in one area, just that one thing that you are comfortable with. And because that's what we do. Once we identify one fruit, once we have identified our seed and we have created one fruit, and that fruit seems to be working, we just stay there and hold on to that fruit for dear life, and we don't want to try any other thing. But that's not God's plan for you and I. He wants you to be dynamic. He wants you to take it and multiply it into different formats. And my own charge and my own encouragement to you is that depending on where you are right now, that particular format in your domain that scares you, that is what you need to be working on right now. So if for you, for instance, now maybe you are a coach and you train people in gatherings, you train people in classes, you train people, you do group coaching. My own charge and my own encouragement to you is, what about one-on-one coaching? There are Fortune 500 CEOs there that are waiting for you to come and help them solve their problems. How are you reaching out to them to be that person to coach them? And so that's just what it is. And you're like, me, coach for Fortune 500 CEO, what am I going to tell them? Me, that I'm not a Fortune 500 CEO, what do I have to say to help somebody that is a Fortune 500 CEO? But that's it. That's the challenge. That's what you need to take up. That particular area that scares you right now, that you feel you don't have the capacity or you don't feel competent to perform in, that's what you need to be doing right now. And that's where you need to be focused on building competency, on building your confidence, and absolutely going after it. And so that leads us to the fourth step in the process of the law of the domain, and that's the law of replenish. So we said law of seed, law of fruit, law of multiply. The fourth law is the law of replenish. And what does replenish mean? Replenish means just to refill something. So when we talk about the law of replenish, we are saying that you've identified your seed, you've produced something from it, you've multiplied it into different formats. Now take all those things that you have produced and distribute it on a massive scale. And that's what the law of replenish is all about. Do you have a system and a structure to distribute the things that you have produced on a massive scale? And we are in such a privileged era like this, where we can leverage on many of the technological tools that are available to us to distribute the things that we are producing on a very massive scale. And so that's just what it is. How are you taking advantage of all those opportunities? How are you taking advantage of all those platforms out there to do the things that you want to do and to do it on a very, very massive scale? Now, you don't need to wait for any regular publisher or any traditional publisher, let me put it like that, for you to be able to reach out to your audience. Right now, you can be your own self-publisher. You can be your own publisher. Reach out to the people that you want to reach out to on a very massive scale. That's what we mean by the law of replenish. And then the final law is the law of subdue. We said law of the seed, law of the fruit, law of multiply, law of replenish, and the law of subdue. And when we say the law of subdue, what we're saying is that control your domain, right? Control your area of influence, control your area of impact. What are you doing to control your area of domain? And the way that you control your area of domain is by differentiating yourself. Absolutely. So the question is, what are you doing to differentiate yourself? Do people know how good you are? Do they know how credible you are? Do they know what makes you stand out? What makes you different from every other person? Because trust me, just like Kevin Hart is not the only comedian right there, right? No, we have people like Eddie Murphy. We have people like give me their names now. I can't remember. We have Eddie Murphy. We have Adam Sandler. We have Ben Stiller. We have Owen Wilson. We have Dave Chappelle. We have Chris Rock. We have Chris Tucker. We have all manner of comedians out there, but you always know that Kevin Hart is different, even if it's only the fact that he's short. So, but he's different and he uses it to his advantage. I'm not ridiculing him. He calls himself short and he enjoys it. In fact, at the back of this book, guess what he says? He says, "What does Kevin Hart have that a book also has?" According to the three people who have seen Kevin Hart and a book in the same room, the answer is clear. Guess what he says? A book is compact, Kevin Hart is compact. So I didn't say it, trust me, he's the one that says it. And he loves it. Obviously, for him, that's his difference. Every other person is out there, but I'm this compact person, but I'm a ball of dynamite. I enter into every room, but despite the fact that I'm compact, I'm short and small, by the time I open my mouth, everybody has to look again and says, where is that coming from, right? And isn't that powerful? That you can be so compact, you can be so small there, but what comes out of you, the world cannot deny the effect. And so that's what we're talking about. That do people know how credible you are? Do they know why you are different? Do they know what makes you stand out? And the thing about it is that, are you communicating that difference consistently? Are you communicating that difference consistently? It doesn't matter if the world is not answering you right now. Keep communicating that difference. Keep sharing your difference. There are places in this book where the same, let me see if I can quickly find it, where he shows himself how, he was at a table with the same people who he's rubbing shoulders with right now. But at that particular point in time, he was on the outside. Nobody was paying attention to him. Those moments. I'm not sure. This is my own copy. Go and get yours. That's the thing. I saw it earlier. Now I can't see it, but trust me, it's there. Don't worry. When you get your own copy, you see it. So, but that's it. That there's a picture there where he was at a table with Keith Robinson and Dave Chappelle, who were already big comedians at the time. And because nobody really knew him, they made him sit away from their own table, and he was just looking at them admiringly and all that. But today the story has changed. The same person who was once an outsider now is an insider. The same person that nobody paid attention to, that was ignored and ridiculed at some point, is the same person now that is selling out arenas. I think, I don't know as of today, but at one time, he was actually the biggest comedian in the world. Short, compact, but the biggest. And so that's just what it is. That sorry. Oh, okay. For whatever reason, my wife is telling me that there are some comments coming in. I don't know if it's my network or something. I can't see it. Please, I apologize. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to check it. I don't know why the comments are not showing. I sincerely apologize. I think it's my network or something. Maybe after the session, I'll look at the comments again. But I just want to say thank you so much. I'm sure my wife will tell me what the comments are. I know that will help me. I sincerely apologize. It must be my network. So really, that's just what it is. Just wanted to make this as short and sharp. That's it. That's the five-step process to becoming a master, of your domain. Always remember that for us to become masters, we must be willing to be committed students and servants of our domain, of our area of gifting, and we have to be willing to submit to the process. Until we are submit to the process, we won't be made. Until we are submit to the process, we won't become those masters that God has ordained for us. And it's a five-step process. Number one, submit to the law of the seed, identify that area of gifting. You have gifts, you have seeds of greatness inside you. It's about your gifts, your talent, knowledge, wisdom, experience, those ideas that you have. Law of fruits, get busy, produce something. Don't stay just celebrating the seed of greatness. Take that thing and produce something. Put out a product, put out a service, then multiply the product. Don't just stay with that format you are comfortable with. Challenge yourself in other areas, right? Those areas that scare you, challenge yourself in those areas. Put your products into different formats. Then we said replenish, take it and distribute it on a massive scale. We have the tools in this day and age. Take it out, distribute it on a massive scale. And then, okay, I can read it, right? Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. I want to become yes, my wife just did me a solid by handing me over the phone so that I can see, because I don't know, I'm not seeing it here. So hi, Abhishek Sharma. It's great to have you here. You say I want to become a veterinarian, then it can be called as my domain, right? Yes, absolutely, Abhishek. Absolutely, Abhishek. Awesome. Oh, okay. Also, Abhishek. Yes, absolutely. It's that's very powerful. That's very powerful. Yes, that you want to be a vet doctor. That's your domain. You're talking about putting your knowledge, your skills, your experience that you have in this particular area to work. Great one, Abhishek. Absolutely. And just follow the process, right? Follow the process. Remember, submit to the process, and at the end of the day, you need to remember that the reason why you are in that area is to become a master. You are not there for the situation and circumstances to be dominating you. You are there to be a master of that domain. And I'm absolutely rooting for you. I'm absolutely cheering you on. I'm glad that my YouTube helps. This helps, and that you are very grateful for this session. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. All right. If you have any other questions, please, Abhishek, just feel free to share them here. I'm sure my wife will let me know. She's great at that. Thank you so much. So that's it. If you have any other questions, please feel free. Just send them. Okay, awesome. So I see what I needed to press, and now I can see all the comments. Okay, awesome stuff. It's great. You are most welcome, Abhishek. Thank you for being here on this live session. Thank you, SME Tribe. Thank you, Exgo. Everyone that was here, thank you. I appreciate you very much. Just like I said, just wanted to make this short and sharp. Yes, Abhishek, absolutely. You hit it on the head. Always choose mastery over mediocrity. Well said. That statement you just made, Abhishek, is the summary of everything that we've just said today. Mastery over mediocrity. I think we need to change. I need to change the title of this live session to that. Mastery over mediocrity. Well said, Abhishek. Well said. Mastery over mediocrity. Absolutely. Whatever area of domain, whatever is your own domain, remember, mastery over mediocrity. That's our mindset as high performers. That's what we're going in to do. And I can't wait to hear all our great stories that of how we are crushing it in our domains. Always remember, every Friday like this, we go live. Let's keep having this conversation. Next week, Friday, we're still going to be digging deep more into, is there a schedule for your live sessions? Yes, absolutely. I usually on the community tab, I'm always trying to update when the live sessions are coming on. It's usually 5:15 p.m. West African time. So I'm not sure what time zone you are, Abhishek, but 5 p.m. West African time every Friday. 5:15 p.m. West, that's between 5 and 6 p.m. West African time every Friday, like this. So, but I always make sure that at least I always keep updating on the community tab for the schedule of the live session. And thank you so much, Abhishek, for all your very insightful comments and for sharing with us all the things that you are learning here. I really appreciate you. So that's it. Any other questions? Do you have any other question, Abhishek? Even as I promise, I'll just make this very short and sharp. If you have any other questions, feel free. Exigo, you are welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the session. If you have any other question, just let me know. Look out for all the long form content that will be coming out on my channel over the weekend, long form video, my newsletter that comes out on the, you're welcome, Abhishek. You're welcome. Newsletter that will be coming out over the course of the weekend. Please do me a favor and share it with somebody. I know we are learning great stuff here, and I know that somebody else too will definitely benefit from those things that we're learning. So just do me a favor. I will appreciate it so much, and I'm sure they will appreciate it too if you share those stuff, all the content that is coming out with somebody. Thank you so much. So let me let you go. I had a great time. I'm glad you had a great time too. You're welcome, Abhishek. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your time with your friends, your family over the weekend. Talk to you very soon. Your greatness is very sure.